Thank you very much for coming out here. You know, regardless if you agree with what we're saying or don't agree, just the fact that you came out here speaks volumes, and I appreciate it, and this really lets you know who your true friends are, so thank you very much for coming out here. Okay, and without further ado, we'll start. Basically, I'm going to be speaking on the attacks of September the 11th. First of all, I want to, again, preface this as saying, the tragedy that faced America, on the attacks of September 11th, it killed 3,000 Americans, and after that, thousands more have died as a result of the war on terror in both Afghanistan, Iraq, and I hear we're even considering going into Iran. But they did say that this was going to be, the war on terror was going to be a war that was going to last for generations. So that sounds fun. Basically, a tragedy of this magnitude screams for justice, and in the weeks immediately following September 11th, all Americans, myself as well, were united under this great feeling of patriotism, and duly so, because this is the greatest country on the earth. There's no denying also the extraordinary heroism of the brave men and women rescue workers who risked their lives, and some lost their lives when the towers came down. But because of these lives lost, I feel that we owe it to these brave men and women to seek justice and truth and leave no stone unturned. So, that's kind of why we're here. Although there are many reasons to doubt the 9/11 Commission's official story, the 9/11 Commission being the group of people that was appointed by the Bush administration finally to investigate and write the report on exactly what happened. One odd fact that a lot of people don't know, the 9/11 Commission was not even appointed for 441 days after the attacks on September 11th, whereas, previous big national calamities such as the Kennedy assassination and also the Oklahoma City bombing, commissions were appointed immediately, within a week, 2 weeks after. Whereas the 9/11 Commission, it took 441 days for them to even appoint it. But regardless, the general media has done very little to, answer the questions of the 9/11 Truth Movement, which is actually very big and has been active for the past 4.5 years, trying to get a few simple questions answered. And those questions I am going to go over with you, later on in the speech. But, the media has done nothing to bring the light of day onto these specific questions, which in something as dramatic and, groundbreaking and history-defining as this attack of September 11th, I think all questions and, all possible angles on it should be looked at and examined and be given due time in the media. I can think of nothing more American than seeking truth, justice, and fighting to preserve the American way of life. The 9/11 Truth Movement contains thousands of people, engineers, doctors, professors, filmmakers, and ordinary people like the rest of us. The Truth Movement has, like I said, has researched and asked the same questions for years. Actually, without further ado, let's get into the official attacks themselves. First, to understand the attacks, you have to understand the, then I'm losing my note card. 1 second. Thank you, brother. I saw you going to get it, and I appreciate it. Very appreciated. Anyway, you have to understand the defense mechanisms that we have in place in this country and have had as long as we've had the modern military mechanisms that we operate under. NORAD. NORAD is the Northeast Air Defense. Basically, NORAD is solely responsible for monitoring our airspace. Every craft that takes off or lands anywhere in the continental United States, Canada, Alaska, well actually, yeah, this is continental United States, but any aircraft that enters our airspace, NORAD needs to know about, monitor, and there are standard operating procedures that NORAD is supposed to follow. For example, as soon as any aircraft, be it a commercial jet, a 757, or even a small Cessna, as soon as any aircraft loses radio contract, jets are supposed to be scrambled. There are several reasons why the jets, NORAD, may have failed us on, well, they definitely did fail us on 9/11, as, no planes were shot down. But there's several reasons why that might be. The first of which would be that the Pentagon was running several war games. I'll give you two offhand. There's a total of 5 though in general, and you can look this up and see the war games that the Pentagon was running on September 11th. The first is titled Northern Vigilance. In this drill, we moved fighter jets to Canada and Alaska to fight off an imaginary Russian fleet. The other is Vigilant Guardian, and again, both of these drills were running simultaneous to the attacks on September 11th, which could add to the the general overall confusion and lack of our airliners, our F-15s, shooting down those supposedly hijacked airliners. The second would be Vigilant Guardian. This was another stage scenario, a war game, in which hijacked jets were supposed to be, arrive somewhere in the northern United States, and that sounds a little familiar to actually what happened. But regardless, let's go on to the actual facts. Flight 175, which was the one that eventually would hit the South Tower, lost radio contact at 8:40. Unfortunately, our jets, be it because they were confused by these war games or for other reasons, possibly more sinister, maybe not, or maybe possibly just incompetence as the current administration claims. Again, the radio contact was lost at 8:40. Jets not scrambled until 8:46. Another odd thing is the order came from Otis Air National Guard Base, 180 miles away from Manhattan in Cape Cod, rather than McGuire Air Force Base, which is only 70 miles away and in New Jersey. So the order to scramble the F-15s actually came 180 miles away, and this is fact, again, from Otis Air National Guard Base rather than McGuire Base in New Jersey, which was 70 miles away. There's one problem right there. Why would we not scramble jets from the closest location in the tragedy as profound as the one on September 11th? The official count has F-15s taking off finally at 8:52. Remember, the jets were scrambled, which means the order to take off at 8:46, and they did not take off until 8:52. We're looking at another 6-minute delay. We've got 11 minutes till impact of Flight 175 into the South Tower. Obviously, there was very little we could have done about the attack on, the North Tower, since nobody saw that coming. But the South Tower happened, quite later, and I'll get to that also later on in the speech. Anyway, after another 6-minute delay, F-15s finally take off at 8:52. 11 minutes to impact with the South Tower. NORAD's timeline said it took 19 minutes to reach Manhattan. What this means is that our F-15s, our fighter planes, were traveling at 700 nautical miles per hour. Now, a quick factoid or a fact on F-15s. An F-15 can actually peak out at full throttle at 1,850 nautical miles per hour, or 30 miles a minute. That's what they can peak at. That's full capacity. Now, looking back at NORAD's timeline, saying it took 19 minutes to come from 180 miles away, which again, they should have never scrambled it from that base. They should have scrambled it from New Jersey. But regardless, do the math, it works out that they were traveling at 700 nautical miles per hour. You're looking at half throttle. And a quick question that comes to mind is why in a crisis such as this, the most major attack on this country since the attack of Pearl Harbor, are our fighter planes, who are supposed to be trying to intercept hijacked planes, going to travel at less than half speed. Actually, a good deal less than half speed. Had NORAD acted normally, and by that I mean had they followed normal operating procedures, scrambled fighter jets as soon as radio contact was lost with the first flight. Also, had they scrambled the jets from the closest bases, or had our fighters even been going full throttle, we would have made it to Manhattan in 8 minutes. There would have been 3 minutes left to shoot down Flight 175 before it tragically crashed into the South Tower of the World Trade Center.